Just quickly, I'm a cattle producer from southeastern Australia. Family farm. My wife Jane was with us on the tour yesterday. 3 children. We're in the process of succession. If you saw that photo earlier, you'll understand why. Look, it was delightful yesterday on the Kepak tour to actually see green grass. We are a grass-fed operation in our family farm, and literally we were fully destocked in October last year. We are now fully destocked again. Well, not I lie. We've got 4 bulls and 2 cows. You'd think someone on cattle council would know that you don't have that ratio on your farm. But that is effectively how we manage the environment in our place, and it's a major issue for us, and it's something we've got to deal with. With our roundtable, well, Cattle Council has always been a member of Global Roundtable, but the framework we're doing comes out of a political explosion that Cattle Council actually got hammered a few years back. And so we're not technically a round table, yet our framework aligns very much with the principles and criteria of the Global Roundtable. We also certainly consider the Sustainable Development Goals. It's just common sense. And you can see today that, the common ground between all of us. Our framework has 23 priority areas, and we group them under the 4 main: welfare, economic, environmental and community. We went out and worked with our stakeholders, both in industry and outside of industry, and we came up with the priority areas under those 4 pillars. And interestingly enough, they put up the first 5 that came out of that consultation, and the committee that's running this framework said, hang on, we're missing one: the health and safety of our people. And I find it very interesting that the outside stakeholders didn't actually think about that. I mean, it's the whole thing, really, isn't it? You can't do it without it. We've made a commitment, and it's an ambitious target, to be carbon neutral by 2030. And we mightn't quite get there, but we're going to give it a shot. And I think of the leadership question and things like that, and I think we've got a lot of leadership to actually do it. But at this stage, we commissioned CSIRO, not we, the industry commissioned CSIRO to look at, is it possible, and what the pathways would be. And we've come up with many different options. And, they're to do with stocking rate, their productivity, forestation, reforestation, etc., etc. And there's a lot of things to be looked at there, and they will be. We'll have different pathways for different regions within Australia, and it's a very diverse climate there, and it's something that people work with later in the burp and slurp session, which is on tomorrow, I think, something like that. So people will be doing a lot more on that tomorrow. If I could talk some of our highlights, this is very similar to what we've been seeing. We established one of the main ones that was very difficult with us, and this is it is a political problem. We have states in Australia and we have a federal government, and so we have different definitions around even forests. A simple thing is, what's a forest? In Australia, different state definitions and a different federal definition. So we've established an expert working group of technical people from within the country to work through that and help decide on the 6 key priority areas that the industry should focus on in this space. It's interesting to work collaboratively with stakeholders to try and achieve something like this. The other one of interest I find very interesting is the animal welfare. A highlight of that for me is the pole gene. And while you talk about debudding and using pain relief, surely going down a pole path would be better. And even this morning, a journalism network in Australia called Beef Central highlighted that in the bull buying sales, it's the bull buying season in the north of Australia at the moment, there is a premium for the pole bulls within any of the breeds. So that percentages have increased, and it'll be interesting to see as we go over the next few years the increased percentage. A 35 million strategic research partnership with 12 research organisations committed to improving Australian already world-class animal welfare practices. This partnership is looking at issues including replacing versus practice, early detection tools and animal disease and reducing mortality rates. Environment, people and maturity I just talked up. Looking ahead, one of our key focuses will be how to take the framework from a reporting tool to stakeholders and a tool that industry bodies are to guide investment to a tool that is useful on-farm and that translates changing stakeholder expectations to people at the start of the process to produce Australia's world-class beef.